examples are in your notes, maybe a page in, second page, I think, back on the first page, I think that's where they are. We're just going to use this as some examples of how to type things into your calculator. I'm going to pause it just for 1 second so I can talk about what's coming up in your life. Let's go ahead and type in question number 2. Did we do this yesterday? I think we did this. Don't do that one. Let's do question number 4.
1.4.
Okay, I'm not asking to answer. I'm asking you to type it in. 2 to the 1/2. And just a reminder, how we did it yesterday is obviously type in 2 and then caret. Now, depending on your calculator, if you have fractions on your calculator, if you have that button that makes fractions, how do we get to that fraction button? Alpha. You do alpha, then you do the y equals button, and then you hit enter. And then when you do that, it brings up like a, something like, looks like that, and you type in your 1/2 and you hit enter and you get your answer, which is approximately 1.414. If you do not have the fraction button on your calculator, if you have an older model, you're going to have to do 2 caret, and then you have to do the parenthesis 1 divided by 2. If you don't do the parenthesis, it will not give you the correct answer. So everybody try it right now. Make sure that you got 1.414 when you typed it in your own calculator. Okay, so I see some of you being tricky and typing in like 2 to the 0.5. Totally awesome. The problem is, how do you do that for this one? For like forever?
Not forever.
How about just type in, but that takes way longer than just 8 to the 1/3. Type in 8 to the 1/3. Let's do number 6. Type in 8 to the 1/3.
2.
Should get 2. You typed it incorrectly, you get 2. Typed it incorrectly, you get 2. 8 to the 1/3. Type in 8 to the 1/3. Now, there's only one of me. If you're all the way the other side, I'm not right next to you, and you can't ask me a question, ask somebody near you. Because I might be able to help you too. Yeah, this is what we talked about yesterday, was that 8 to the 1/3 is the same thing as what root? What root? It is 3 for the root, and then the power is 1. And if it's 1, I don't really have to write the power, so it would be the same thing as the cube root of 8. How do we do the cube root of 8 on our calculator? Let's do number 5. Hold on a second, I gotta make some room. 5. Hey. All right, what was I trying to do? Cube root of 8? Yeah, to get the cube root, you go under the math button. And then when we talk about how long it takes you to type things in, every tiny little second counts on that ACT. So instead of hitting math, down, 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 enter, just hit math 4. And you can hit the 4 button instead of down, 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 enter. It just takes you less time to go math 4. Once you do math 4, then you hit your 8. What answer do we get? 2. Okay. How about, let's do number 7. Let's do the cube root of 4 squared. Number 7, the cube root of 4 squared. Okay. I'm going to put up an example that you did not do yesterday if you've already done these. If you've already done those, then you can try that one. Try should be sharing with somebody that, you can practice calculators with. Right now, we're doing the cube root of 4 squared, right? Did you get it? What'd you get?
2.297.
For this one?
Oh.
Sorry.
It was 2.519.
Round up to
8.42.
2.522.
I just want to make sure that you are typing it in correctly. Yeah, the other one's there. Okay, so how do we do the purple one? How do we do the 5th root? You're going to go under math, and it is choice number 5. But some of you with the older calculators, you actually have to type in the index number first before you go and do math 5. It depends on your calculator. So try to get the answer 2.297. Make sure that you can get it on your calculator. Make sure you can get that answer on your calculator. If anybody else need help. Depends on the model of calculator that you have. How you do it. So you independent 5 first, right? Yeah. You get 2.297 on the first one? Yep, right. You just did it. Okay, you did it.
But I don't know why
And they're like, all right, we'll send an ambulance.
All right, find where we are in our notes now. We're now going to find the real solution. To find the real solution. All right, we've already done things similar to, you're going to have to write it on. It's in there.
Yeah, I
You saw on the last page.
ain't seen this.
It's in there though. You just have to turn the page maybe. Because we did a bunch of, I just skipped over. I skipped over some calculator questions.
Oh,
All right, so this is stuff that we've learned how to do when we were doing square roots, only we're going to do 5th root for this one. So you're going to first divide by 4. You get x to the 5th equals 32. To cancel out x to the 5th, you do the 5th root for both sides.
2.
And that is 2. Do you remember, do you remember the plus or minus thing? Correct. So only
If it's on.
plus or minus if taking an even root. If it's odd, you don't need the plus or minus. Okay, you only use the plus or minus when it's an even root. That has to do with the fact where you can't square root a negative number. You can cube root a negative number. This has to do with that a bit. Okay, so the next one starts with a parenthesis to the 4th power. So how do we cancel out a 4th power?
4. Oh. The root. 4 for the root. I don't know if I
So
can.
we need plus minus. Yes, I'm doing it right now. Okay, so what'd you do? You took the 4th root, right? The 4th root, both sides, but it's even, so I also need a plus minus. If it's even, you need the plus minus. So then we have x minus 3 equals plus minus 4th root 21. So how do we get x by itself?
Add 3.
Add 3? So we get 3 plus or minus 4th root of 21. That is the most exact answer. There's actually 2 of them. What'd you say?
I didn't know if you wanted us to do the actual 4th root of 21.
We are going to. Yeah.
Oh, we are?
I'm just telling you, this is an exact answer.
Yeah.
Now to find an approximate answer, a rounded approximate answer, we're going to use our calculator, but you can't type in plus minus to your calculator. So you got to do 3 plus 4th root 21, and you have to do 3 minus 4th root 21. You got to do them separate. So go ahead and type those in your calculator.
How close to like a decimal?
It says in the homework directions to decimal places.
0.51 and 0.8.
Do I have them right?
No. 5.14.
Oh, it's 5.1, not
You
0.5.
silly.
I looked at it and then I answered a question and I got confused and, only mistake I'm making the whole year right there.
Well, you erased it so it wasn't real.
Right.
But it's
It never
recorded.
happens. It never
It's
happens.
recorded.
Okay, so you have 2 answers. Ready? Let's try some more. I would be okay with you working ahead. I'm going to work them out. I'm going to talk through them. If you don't get it, you can listen to what I'm saying. I'm recording it. But if you understand it, then you can work faster than me. And check your answers with mine. So for this one, I'm going to divide by 8. I'll get x cubed equals 8. Then I cube root both sides. But if I do the cube rooting, I don't need a plus minus because it's odd. So I get x equals 2 and I'm done. For number 14, if there's a fraction, to get rid of that fraction, you multiply by what's in the denominator. So you multiply by 2. And we get x to the 5th equals 1024. I'm going to take the 5th root. And I don't need plus minus because it's an odd root. And I don't have that memorized. It's not in my chart. So I just use the 5th root on my calculator. And it's 4. Number 15, 4th root right away. 4th root, but that one needs plus minus because it's 4. So we get x plus 5 equals plus minus 2. And I subtract my 5, so I get negative 5 plus or minus 2. But I really can add negative 5 plus or negative 5 minus 2. So I get my 2 answers as negative 7 or negative 3. The last one, we're going to cube root both sides. I do not need plus minus because it's odd. Get x minus 2 equals cube root of negative 14. Add 2. So So I get 2 plus cube root of negative 14. I don't know what that is, so I'm going to type it on my calculator. It's just one answer. Don't remember what it is.
Negative 0.41.
Yep.
0.
All right. Then the last page has some
Hospital.
real life examples, real life applications. A hospital purchases an ultrasound machine for $50,000. The hospital expects the useful life of the machine to be 10 years, at which time its value will have depreciated to $8,000. You know what depreciation means?
Yeah, I'm gonna drive the car around.
A lot appreciates.
What does it mean?
Cheaper.
It means it's worth less money. It means when you if you buy like some cute fruits for $300 and you try to sell it to your friend, you can't sell it for $300. No.
Well, if they're limited edition, then you could sell them for $350.
If they've been worn, you probably can't.
Well, if you wore them once, it like you just took 3 steps in them and
Since
then
it's
took them off,
on
put
the
them
Same
back in the
thing,
box and
second
sold
you
them for
drive the
$350.
car, the second you drive that car, it drops.
Well,
You
limited
use it.
edition shoes, like they.
There are a few things in life that do appreciate their values, but a lot of stuff depreciates its value. Like what appreciates is like a house sometimes.
The neighborhood gets better.
A lot of times housing. Something rare, like he's trying to argue with me about something rare that everybody wants.
No, the new think shoes.
Yeah. Okay. The hospital uses the declining balances method for depreciation, so the annual depreciation rate in decimal form is given by this formula. By the way, that exponent is 1 divided by n. It is 1 divided by n, just so we know. That is a 1 there also. All right, in the formula, n is the useful life of the item in years. So what is the useful life of this? 10 years. S is the salvage value. That means how much could you sell it for? 8,000. That is the S. And then C is the original cost, 50,000. Let's set it up. R equals 1 minus 8,000 divided by 50,000 to the 1 over 10. Type it in your calculator to make sure you type it in correctly, because there's nothing else to do but type it in. Then write your answer as a rate in percent form. The rate is what the R. But write it in percent form, not decimal form. You mean on your calculator? You can put it round to like a decimal. Yes, type starting at the 1. Yes, remember how we do our homework and you put it in percent form after you divide the stuff and you multiply by 100 and put it in percent form? Remember we do that all the time for our homework? All right, did we get because you wrote 5,000. Did you get approximately 16.7%? Some of you wrote 17% down, I see. You did that? Nope. Yeah, we can multiply by 100. To make it, you know how we do that for our homework. We multiply by 100 to make it a percent. All right, last 2 questions. We have the volume of a cylinder given, and we have to find the radius of that cylinder. So we're going to use this formula that I provided for you. If I did not provide the formula for you, you have resources to find the formulas. Yeah. Guess what? Guess how I found the
But what
formula?
if it's on a test, then how are we gonna, can we Google it on the test?
No,
Would you give it to us?
I would give it to you if it was on a test. If it was real life and you didn't know and you had Google available, you would use it.
What if you're stuck in a rainforest and you needed to
Then
know how much
I don't
water
know.
can be held?
Then you should have memorized that, I guess. All right, so we have 1726 equals pi r squared multiplied by 15. We have to solve for r. So what am I going to do to both
Divide by
sides?
15 in pi.
You're going to divide both sides by 15 pi. Please use pi. Do not use 3.14. Please use pi. So I get r squared equals 1726 divided by 15 pi. What do we do after that? Square root. Ooh, but if you do a square root, don't I need something else?
2. Plus times.
Don't I need a plus or minus?
I mean, I guess you do. It's optional. Just can't.
Have I used my calculator yet?
No, you haven't.
Okay. So I get R is, I'm still waiting for somebody to argue with me about this.
I'm ready to fight.
Oh, yes, but you know what? We really haven't done much of that yet in here, so I'm not going to worry about that yet. I'm worried about something else. He's talking about, you know how you can't leave a radical in the denominator? It's fine, but,
Can you square root positive?
yep, we can, but there's something else I can't do here. What am I trying to find? Trying to find the radius. The radius. The radius. How many radii am I going to find?
2, but it's a, like the length. So
That's
it's
the
negative,
diameter.
so.
Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. It's like, you do need to put the plus minus in there, but we have to think about what we're finding. I'm trying to find a radius.
Negative.
I don't have a negative radius.
Oh.
So please do not write down both answers, because one of them doesn't make any sense. Only use the positive version.
You go backwards.
It's a
Now, going back to what Aaron said. Aaron, I believe this is asking us to round it. Maybe it's not. Is it saying to round it? It doesn't. I think it says to round it in the homework maybe. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and round this. So we don't have to worry about the radical in the denominator. We're going to type it in our calculator anyway. You need to type it in your calculator. Make sure that you are typing it in correctly. You should get 6.05.
2.
You did more decimals.
Yeah.
So if you are getting like 19 point something, I know what you're doing wrong. Please let me help you. Yeah, if you're doing that, I know what you're doing wrong. Did you type that in exactly kind of how you see it? You might have a square root for it too, but is that how you typed it in? Yep. This is not how you type it in. Let me explain, because you gotta understand how your calculator works. I don't want you to get wrong answers on the ACT because of a not knowing how your calculator works. 1726 divided by 15, this is times by pi. This says 1726 divided by 15, then take that answer and multiply by pi. But that's not what I'm trying to do. Your calculator doesn't see what's on the paper. It's not a thing. Like, it's not a real life being. It doesn't see it. You have to tell the calculator exactly what to calculate. You just tell the calculator that 15 pi is all in the denominator together. So you need to have those parentheses there. So it divides by 15 and pi, not divided by 15 times by pi. So, you did one. Wait, you did one step at a time. Fine? Okay. Brianna, did you get it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that way's fine with the, but not everybody has the fraction button. Yeah. Oh yeah, if you have the fraction button, you are gonna make a lot less mistakes. They cost just as much as the ones that don't have the fraction button. They do. They're just, the other ones are older. All right, we have this one, 734 equals 4/3 pi r cubed. How do we get rid of the 3 in the denominator? How do we get rid of a 3 in the denominator? Multiply by 3. Multiply by 3 cancels it out of the denominator. I'm doing this like how I would do it if you had to put the exact answer. And then if you have to put the approximate answer after that, then you just type it in your calculator. But I'm doing it the way you would do it if you had to do the exact answer. Forget what this number is. Choose. Okay, trying to get radius by itself, so I need to get rid of what? So how do I get rid of 4 pi? Divide by 4 pi. Radius cubed equals 220 over 4 pi. How do I get radius by itself?
Cubic root.
Do I need plus or minus?
Distance.
It's distance and it's r.
Oh, and it's,
So you don't do plus or minus anyway.
so it's a double negative, so you do it.
When you type that in, if you're typing it incorrectly, please do it yourself. So you know that you're doing it right. Type it in correctly and you round it. It's like 5.59758, but I
Yeah.
rounded to 5.6.
5956.
Right. 5.597.
5.9555.
Oh, so yours is not accurate. That's not. You rounded that answer. You rounded that answer. Oh, and you can even do that. I want you to go arrow up, arrow up, arrow up, enter. So yeah, I brought it down. You don't have to retype it. Enter.
You didn't know that.
So now you know.
If you don't know, now you know.
It still doesn't work like that.
Grammar is just bad.
Still doesn't look right. No, but
I mean, that's a pretty good way to go out.
Sorry, you guys, let me put your assignment up.
Yeah, holding us back.
It is in the book, so if you've turned in your assignment already, I have 3 books in my classroom. There's 1, there's 2, where's the third one? 3. So you can take a picture of the book, you can use the book while you're in class. Your
You just
work
do
should be
the
on separate paper.
worksheet.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry, I'm not being silly right now. 5.59588.
This page right now.
From today?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, what we graded today, yeah. Yes. It's the same worksheet that you had last night. You have time to start. You should not be getting your phones out and like hanging out for the rest of class talking. You have time to start, get started. Time to start, get started. 21 to 20. 21 to 31. 33 to 34, 35 to 43 odd. Anytime you get started, get started. There are 2 hooks sitting right over there. There will be plates for showing work. Plates for showing work, so make sure you are showing work where applicable. If it says type it in your calculator, there's not really points for work. But the solving. Okay, well, get started. Number 1. That we should be using what we were doing yesterday. By the way, the matching, you're supposed to match, and then it says explain your reasoning. And explain why also. So that should be the kind where we just
That's
switch
only,
the four.
only.
Can you take this and switch it so it has an exponent instead of a radical? So the fraction has a number over a number. The exponent fraction is number over a number. Which number is the bottom number? Out of these 2 numbers, why is that one the bottom number? What can we say to remember that it has the bottom? Because it's not saying it for me. It is the what? The roots, right? And where do roots grow? They grow on the bottom, right? So when you have a fraction, your root is always the bottom number, your root. And your power is the top one. I was always taught power lines are at the top. Roots are in the ground, but not all power lines are.
That's true. But roots
Lightning
are
is
always
very
in the
powerful.
ground.
Lightning is at the top. How about that? So how do you write it? 5 to the left. Now, explain why that is your match. Remember, there is a deadline if you guys are switching classes at all. Some of you may want to think about trying to get in the junior math class with Miss Moore. Get some basically like extra help. Those of you that need this class to graduate, maybe try to get in that class. You have the deadline like next week for switching schedules. I know it's pretty helpful to be in that class. I know some people that are in it, that it is helpful to them. Your counselor. What?
I might need that.
Okay.
No?
You just annoy Miss Moore. I don't want to do that to her.
Good idea.
You don't annoy me.
Oh,
You just annoy Miss Moore.
I think you're trying to say that, though.
You are a pleasure to have in my class.
Within my really good spiritual
You are. Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Bill.
Thank you.
Hey, that's your day too.
Oh, yeah. How was the day yesterday?
I was as soon as you got no. I'm tired.
And it's a slipper slide today like it was yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday that one turn.
What? Could have been tragic. You can slowly slide.